Hello, this is Bill Bullard with RCAF USA, the voice of the independent cattle producer in the United States of America. So here's the market report for this week. Fed cattle prices are now down to $110 a hundredweight, lower in some regions. But consumers are continuing to pay near record prices for beef. In fact, they've been paying about the same price for beef this year as they were when your cattle prices were $167 for fat cattle and $300 a hundredweight for lighter weight calves. What is our industry doing to fix our dysfunctional market? The answer is your industry isn't doing much of anything, other than to criticize RCAF USA for its aggressive efforts to restore mandatory country of origin labeling so you can at least begin to compete against the growing volume of cheaper, undifferentiated imports entering your market every day, and criticizing our efforts to fix our industry's broken markets through legislative changes and our historic antitrust lawsuit against the Big Four packers, and criticizing our efforts to stop the government from requiring you to pay $1 for every head of cattle you sell, even when your cattle prices are below your production costs. But that doesn't help any of you whose incomes remain seriously depressed because you're not receiving your competitive share of the dollars that consumers are spending for their beef. However, there is right now a small step you can take to begin improving the dysfunctional marketplace. One of the problems contributing to your broken markets is a concern Congress tried to address in 2008 when it directed the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, to establish criteria to determine when an undue or unreasonable preference or advantage occurs in violation of the Packers and Stockyards Act. Now, this is a provision in the Packers and Stockyards Act that is intended to prohibit sweetheart deals that packers may give to preferred feedlots so they can get bigger, while all the other smaller feedlots who do not receive such favorable treatment are forced to exit the industry. And that's what's happening. We've already lost 75% of our smaller farmer feeders just in the last 2 decades. So here we are 12 years later, and the USDA still hasn't complied with Congress's 2008 directive. But to be fair, the USDA tried to comply a decade ago, but the meatpacking lobby, including the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, successfully lobbied to strip the USDA of any funding for which to finalize those important criteria in a final rule. Now this year, after being sued for not complying with Congress's directive, the USDA proposed a new rule that is supposed to put an end to sweetheart deals. The deadline for public comment regarding this proposed rule is midnight on Friday, March 13th. Now, we've been analyzing the proposed rule, and we're deeply concerned. It looks to us like it was written by the very meat packers that the Packers and Stockyards Act was trying to rein in. And here's why I say that. Rather than establish criteria to determine when a packer has violated the law by granting select feedlots preferential deals while depriving all other feedlots the same favorable treatment, the proposed rule provides the packers with 4 safe harbors. If a packer claims a cost saving for offering preferential deals, there isn't likely a violation. If a packer claims it is meeting a competitor's price, there isn't likely a violation. If a packer claims it is meeting a competitor's terms, there isn't likely a violation. And if a packer claims its practices are customary industry practices, there isn't likely a violation. Now, wait a minute. Our markets are as broken as they are today because regulators have allowed the packers to offer preferential contracts without restraint, and now those offerings, even though they've wreaked havoc on our industry, are considered customary business practices. If that were not a true statement, then why would Congress have issued its directive to USDA 12 years ago to take steps so it could put an end to the undue and unreasonable preferences offered by the packers? I encourage every listener to submit comments by midnight March 13th. To do so, go to www.regulations.gov and type in Packers and Stockyards Act. Then click on Undue and Unreasonable Preferences under the Packers and Stockyards Act, and you can follow the directions from there to submit your comments. And here is a proposed message for your comments. Please start over, as this bad rule is worse than no rule at all. Your rule falls way short of ending the undue and unreasonable preferences that are helping to destroy competition in our industry. If you'd like to help us preserve your opportunity to operate profitably as an independent U.S. cattle producer, please go to www.r-cafusa.com to join with us. With that, have a productive week. Thank you and goodbye.